The Minoan civilization is one of the most mysterious and fascinating in human history. Many have never heard of this people, despite the fact that the Minoans played a huge role in the development of culture and trade in the ancient Mediterranean. Their homeland, the island of Crete, was a center of progress at a time when many other peoples were just beginning to master basic technologies. What made the Minoans such an outstanding civilization that their achievements continue to amaze historians and archaeologists? Imagine an island located at the crossroads of major sea routes. It is surrounded on all sides by the waters of the Mediterranean Sea, and each wave brings trading ships from Egypt, Syria, Asia Minor, and mainland Greece. Crete was not just an island. It was a crossroads of the ancient world, where cultures, ideas, and technologies collided. In such an active trading environment, the Minoans were able to develop an incredible infrastructure for their time and became the first to turn Crete into a center of economic, cultural, and religious influence. One of the most striking features of Minoan civilization was their ability to harmoniously combine art and technology. Their palaces were not only impressive in their grandeur, but also served several key functions. These structures acted as administrative centers where rulers managed the state and controlled resources. The palaces also served as important religious and economic complexes. The Minoans built such palaces in Knossos, Phaistos, and Malea, each representing a unique complex that demonstrated the power and wealth of the rulers of Crete. The Palace of Knossos is the largest of these complexes. With an area of over 20,000 square meters, countless halls, and labyrinths of corridors and courtyards, it became not only an architectural masterpiece, but also the inspiration for the myth of the Minotaur and the labyrinth. Researchers believe that thousands of people may have lived and worked there. The palaces of the Minoans also featured unique architectural solutions, such as multi-story buildings, which were extremely rare for ancient civilizations. These structures were also built to withstand earthquakes, a frequent occurrence in this seismically active zone. It is important to note that Minoan architecture was not limited to grand palaces. The Minoans also built well-planned cities with developed infrastructure. Excavations have revealed complex street systems, houses with rooms for storing goods and food, and public buildings. For example, in the city of Gurnia, archaeologists uncovered residential quarters indicating that the townspeople led highly organized lives. These cities were not just centers of trade and crafts, but also reflected a harmony between man and nature. The Minoans paid great attention to aesthetics and urban planning. A special feature of the Minoan palaces is the columns. Unlike classical Greek columns, Minoan columns had a unique shape. They tapered towards the base. This gave them an elegant appearance while simultaneously fulfilling the functional task of supporting buildings. In Minoan architecture, attention to detail and a striving for harmonious proportions can be observed, as well as advanced water supply and drainage systems that kept the palaces clean and provided water for residents. Archaeologists found remnants of clay pipes that transported water to homes and palaces, and complex drainage systems allowed for the removal of rainwater and wastewater, greatly improving the sanitary conditions of life. But it is not only their architectural achievements that make the Minoan civilization unique. The Minoans became famous for their art, which reflected their religious beliefs and close connection with nature. One of the most famous frescoes is the bull leaping, an image linked to a religious ritual. This ritual probably symbolized victory over natural forces and strength of spirit. The realism of the depictions of animals, plants, and people on the frescoes attests to the high level of artistic skill among the Minoans. Minoan frescoes not only adorned palace walls, but also served as visual chronicles, telling stories about daily life, religious rites, and important events. For example, the fresco from Thera depicts complex maritime scenes, illustrating the importance of the sea in the life of the Minoans and their seafaring abilities. The frescoes also depict women in active social roles, indicating the high status of women in Minoan society, a fact that distinguishes this civilization from many other ancient societies where women played more secondary roles. Minoan pottery was also in high demand beyond Crete. They created refined items decorated with images of sea creatures, plants, and animals. For example, their famous marine style often depicting octopuses and dolphins, became a symbol of Minoan culture. These items were exported to many regions and were valued for their beauty and quality. In addition to pottery, the Minoans reached great heights in jewelry making. They crafted exquisite jewelry from gold and other precious metals, which amazed with their delicacy and elegance. These pieces have been found in palaces and tombs, indicating the wealth of the Minoan elite and the importance of luxury in their society. The Minoans did not just create works of art, they also applied their knowledge in other areas, such as agriculture. By developing complex irrigation systems, they learned how to efficiently use water for irrigating fields, allowing them to grow various crops, including wheat, barley, olives, and grapes. Olives and wine became an important part not only of the domestic economy, but also of trade. Minoan farmers also used terracing methods, which helped effectively use the hilly terrain of Crete for agricultural needs. However, perhaps the most impressive achievement of the Minoans was their trade. Thanks to their advantageous geographical location, Crete became an important trade center between East and West. The Minoans established an extensive network of trade routes that connected Crete with Egypt, Syria, Cyprus, and mainland Greece. They exported pottery, textiles, bronze tools, and jewelry, while importing resources such as copper and tin, essential for producing bronze. Additionally, goods from distant lands, gold, precious stones, and exotic products were brought to Crete, processed, and then re-exported. The Minoans were not only skilled traders, but also excellent seafarers. They built ships that could cover significant distances across the Mediterranean Sea, linking Crete with the region's major ports. Their ships transported not only goods, but also facilitated cultural exchange. The Minoans adopted technologies and achievements from other civilizations, contributing to their development. For example, they became familiar with metalworking methods, such as bronze, through trade links with the East, giving them a technological advantage over other European peoples of that time. Trade allowed the Minoans to grow wealthy and extend their influence. But the Minoans were not just intermediaries, they were active participants in cultural exchange. For instance, contact with Egypt had a profound impact on their art and religious rites. The Minoans borrowed elements of Egyptian culture, such as solar symbolism and deities associated with fertility, and adapted them to their own beliefs. Excavations on Crete have uncovered Egyptian amulets and jewelry, evidence of close trade and cultural ties between the two civilizations. While Egypt was one of the most powerful and ancient civilizations, the Minoans were able to establish mutually beneficial relations with it, securing access to resources and knowledge. Trade also enabled the Minoans to maintain stable diplomatic relations with neighboring civilizations. In a time of instability and frequent conflicts that shook other regions of the Mediterranean, the Minoans preferred to maintain peaceful relations and expand their influence through economic cooperation. This strategy allowed them to avoid many conflicts and focus on developing their society. Moreover, their wealth accumulated through trade helped them maintain internal order and stability. It is worth remembering that the Minoan civilization was not only economically and culturally developed, but also deeply religious. Religion played a key role in their daily life. The Minoans worshipped gods associated with natural forces, fertility, earth, and water. One of the central deities was the so-called snake goddess, symbolizing protection and fertility. Her images often appear on frescoes and statuettes found on Crete. This underscores the importance of the goddess in Minoan religious practices. Minoan women, according to some data, played an important role in religious ceremonies, which distinguishes the Minoan civilization from many other ancient cultures where women held more subordinate positions. The religious rituals of the Minoans were closely linked to agricultural cycles, as their prosperity and well-being depended on harvests. Complex rites, such as bull leaping, were likely not only religious but also symbolic acts representing the overcoming of natural forces. This ritual is depicted on frescoes and pottery, indicating its significance for the Minoans. Although the exact meaning of these rites remains debated, their frequent depiction suggests that they played an important role in Minoan religious life. Interestingly, despite their highly developed civilization, the Minoans built almost no fortified cities or castles. suggesting that they did not perceive significant external threats. This sets them apart from their neighbors, such as the Mycenaeans, who constructed many fortified settlements on the mainland. However, the lack of fortifications was one of the reasons for their vulnerability to disasters and invasions. By the middle of the 2nd millennium BC, natural disasters began to impact the Minoan civilization. Around 1600 BC, one of the most powerful volcanic eruptions in human history occurred on the island of Thera, modern-day Santorini. This eruption, according to many scholars, was catastrophic for the Minoan civilization. The tsunami caused by the volcanic explosion destroyed Crete's coastal cities, and the ash released into the atmosphere triggered long-term climate changes, severely affecting agriculture. The economic decline caused by these natural disasters likely weakened the Minoans and made them more vulnerable to external threats. Archaeological findings show that many Minoan cities and palaces were destroyed not only by natural disasters, but also by fires, which may indicate internal conflicts or external invasions. Ultimately, the Mycenaeans, who lived on mainland Greece, took advantage of Crete's weakened state and conquered the island. The Mycenaeans adopted many elements of Minoan culture, including architecture, crafts, and writing. However, as a distinct cultural entity, the Minoan civilization gradually disappeared. Despite this, its legacy lived on through the Mycenaean civilization, which in turn had a profound impact on the later development of ancient Greek culture. The Minoans laid the foundations for many cultural and technological advancements that would later spread throughout the Mediterranean. Today, the Minoan civilization remains a vital subject of study for historians and archaeologists. Thanks to their achievements in trade, art, architecture, and technology, the Minoans deeply influenced the development of subsequent civilizations. They created a society in which trade and cultural exchange were the cornerstones of prosperity. Their ability to integrate external achievements and develop their own technologies made them one of the most advanced peoples of their time. The story of the Minoans also serves as a reminder of the fragility of even the most prosperous civilizations. Natural disasters, internal conflicts, and external threats can destroy even the mightiest societies. But the legacy of the Minoans lives on. Their architectural and artistic achievements continue to inspire us to this day, and their contributions to the development of trade and seafaring forever changed the history of the Mediterranean. Thus, the Minoan civilization is not just a brilliant example of ancient prosperity, but an essential part of the cultural foundation upon which later civilizations in the region were built. Their achievements in architecture, art, trade, and technology not only enriched their contemporaries, but also laid the groundwork for the development of European civilization.